Happy evening, everybody who's watching us live on the Facebook and are also there in our Zoom platform. Because how many of you agree with me that in the modern era, everything has become digital? If you agree with me, please type S on the chat box. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Panchi. Thank you, Tejas. Thank you. So how many of you also agree with me that today, for any business to be really relevant and to really scale up, there is no alternative but to adopt digital marketing and selling strategies. Friends, again, if you agree with me, I would request you to type agree on the chat box. Thank you again. Friends, I welcome each one of you for our 27th episode titled Digital Selling Strategies to Boost Sales. Friends, this particular topic has been consciously chosen for, as all our viewers know, in the earlier 26 episodes, we have primarily focused on giving an input from all the experts and all those champions and winners of life and in their professions, and giving you the nuggets of wisdom from each one of these successful people on various qualities and aspects. And today we wanted to consciously highlight on this important topic of digital selling, and that too from a really renowned, highly proficient, and one who has really done a deep diving into this particular subject. Friends, it has been our honor and pleasure to welcome my team's digital marketing and sales mentor, and who is today known not only in India but all over the global world, in the digital world, as a person who has got a profound and a deep insight and knowledge on this subject of digital selling strategies, and in order to help you to boost your sales. Because as you all know, the Sales Mastery show, talk show, is basically tailored especially for the youth, in order to help the youth get an insight into this important life and business skill of selling, and thereby give them a deep insight into how each of the human beings, and especially entrepreneurs, can get a hand or a hold on this particular important skill, and thereby take their personal and business success to the next level. So with this, friends, small context, let me welcome the guest for today's show, a very, very close friend of mine, a person whom I really admire from the bottom of my heart for his for impeccability in whatever he does, a person who really takes ownership and responsibility of every assignment that is given to him, and is always a person who pursues excellence. Friends, please put your hands together to welcome my friend and my team's digital selling mentor, Mr. Kiruba Shankar. So Kiruba, welcome to our show, and thank you very much for taking out your valuable time and being with us for this 27th episode of our Sales Mastery talk show, which we almost host every week and every Thursday at 5 p.m. and onwards. So welcome, Kiruba.
Thank you so much, Dr. Arun. I'm absolutely thrilled. I'll tell you why I'm really thrilled. You nailed it when you said that this was really the future of business, let alone just the future of sales. Here I am talking to you from from my farm in a very remote village. In fact, if I pan the camera around, you won't even find the nearest house nearby. And I think this defines what the world is really moving. Pandemic has taught us the lesson that you could be anywhere and do business. This particular show, which we emphasize on digital selling, will show us that every single thing that we learned about traditional selling will get enhanced by applying the extra layer of digital and to make it really work. So I'm super excited. I'm also the fact that you're really walking the talk. Here you are using the power of digital medium to have conversations around sales. And not only are you really adding value to all the people who are listening in, but it is also a fantastic strategy for you to show that you own the space, that Dr. Arnagiri is equal to sales mastery. And I think this is a very smart strategy. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you, Kiruba. So thank you very much. Thank you for your generous compliment. And I think I've learned a lot from you as a co-member of the organization, Professional Speaker Association. And every time we have interacted, I've really understood how important it is for every organization to have a digital marketing strategy and digital sales strategy in order to boost and thereby have a higher leverage. So let me kick off this particular talk show with this first question. How would you define digital selling to someone who is new to this field? As I said, this particular talk show is addressed to the budding entrepreneurs and also the entrepreneurs who have just set out on the career of entrepreneurship. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So digital selling at the very core of it is actually selling as we all know it. There is a person who has a product or a service to offer, and then there is a customer who is in need of that product or service. Now, the trick is to match the requirement for the need. And what digital selling really means is use digital platforms and digital technology at hand as a way to smartly connect the demand with the need. In essence, that's the simplest thing. But if you go a little deeper, it is not about just selling products and service to somebody who's in need, but it's through relationship building. It is to constructing trust and credibility. If you look at almost all the businesses that, or all the things that we have bought in the last 1 month, for all of us who are listening to this live show or somebody who is listening to it on a recorded medium, if I just want you to pause and think through, in the last 1 month, what are anything, whether it could be a high value item or a low value item, when you really think through, you bought it on various criteria. You bought it because it adds value to you. You bought it because it is reliable, but there's a very strong pattern that you bought it because somebody else referred to you, or you bought it because there are 1,000 other people who have already brought that product and they are happy with it. So in a sense, because we are living in such an uber connected world where you can immediately voice out express your thoughts, you can express your experience of that product immediately to the outside world. So it is this collective knowledge that makes the selling process so much more richer. Let me give you an example. So I'm right now constructing a small farmhouse in the middle of a farm. While it is, I just bought an air conditioner, and it's common sense that when I bought the air conditioner, obviously I was looking out for value for money, which is, hey, can I get a good air conditioner at a lower cost? But I don't only want to get something at the lowest cost, but I want to get something that is at a slightly lower cost, but that gives me higher dependability. So what did I do? I looked at reviews, I looked at ratings, and I went deep dive on that. And I was able to almost always, whenever I take a decision going by the ratings and reviews, I'm always correct. But I'm also in the market for for getting a service. So because I'm constructing a house, I'm looking for somebody who's laying tiles on the ground. Well, I can buy the tiles or I can buy the AC, but when I want an AC technician or when I want a guy who lays a really good tiles, and I wasn't able to get it because I'm right now speaking to you from a very remote village. I wasn't able to, and because I wasn't able to validate in both these occasions, I did not end up with the right person. Right? You get that?
Yes.
That's where digital selling really comes into play. It is a fantastic medium for you to sculpt your brand image, not only your company's brand image, but your own personal brand, as a way to tell the world that you're reliable, you're dependable, and you are the go-to person for the service that you're offering. And that is what I would define as digital selling, and why every person, every company, no matter which domain they are, no matter which service they're offering, they have to start mastering digital selling, just the way how you're expected to master how to use a mobile phone, just the same way how you're expected to learn how to drive a car.
Absolutely brilliant answer. I think, Kiruba, I just wanted to ask you this next question, which is very closely. It is said now, digital revolution, which has come due to the phenomenal growth in the technology, and that digital space has created a revolution and has created a level playing field for all levels of entrepreneurs. And that's exactly why what you just made a very deep insight statement, that it is almost mandatory for every entrepreneur to need to learn, understand, and explore the importance of digital sales and marketing. So how much is this a truth, that digital revolution has made a level playing field for almost all entrepreneurs? Your comment on that?
Yeah, I would 100% agree to that statement. And the reason is very simple, right? So if you're not lapping on to the digital bandwagon, you're pretending to be an ostrich putting its head into the sand and thinking all enemies have disappeared. Every person is running faster in order to beat it. So even if you stand still, you're actually getting back in the escalator of life, in the escalator of success. So you better jump on. And you beautifully mentioned about that it's a level playing field. And the reason why I tell you this is because in earlier days, companies with this muscle power of marketing, this muscle power of marketing prowess, muscle power of a big sales team, muscle power of having media connections and having a PR team, you are required to have almost all of that for you to succeed. But even a solopreneur can give a run for the money for many of the bigger brands, because you're now able to connect directly to the end consumer, and it is a wide field. There's enough and more opportunities available. And the best part, what I really like about this revolution, Dr. Arun, it is really the ability for you to completely dissolve borders, your geographical borders, and suddenly you can sit out of a remote village, in a farm, and you can do business with customers in the United States, in New Zealand, and in Japan. I think that is where the real business is. And it is important for us to realize this amazing opportunity on hand.
Brilliant, sir. Absolutely. I think this statement of yours should give a lot of encouragement to all the budding entrepreneurs who always struggle with the limited resources. Kiruba sir, with your deep study, and I know you as a person who always goes deep in everything that you study, do, execute, I wanted your insight and your sharing on the myths that are there about digital sales, which many of the entrepreneurs fall prey to. Which are the myths which are commonly seen or talked about in the digital sales and marketing space, which needs to be busted, and which are the most important one which you would like to highlight?
Yeah, it's a brilliant question. Thank you for asking, Dr. Arun. The biggest myth is that people think, hey, you know what? I have this database and I'm going to send out a mass WhatsApp message about my product. Oh, I have a complete list of email IDs that I have. I'm going to use one of those email marketing tools. I'm going to feed in all the email addresses, blast a message to all. And then you're hoping that people will get to see this and then come back and buy the product. The sad news, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Just the same way how we all hate SMS spams. If somebody sends us or somebody calls us in the middle and they call us and ask, hey, we are selling insurance. Would you like to buy? We are sick and tired of anybody coming and soliciting, to us because without any context, if you come to me, we get turned off immediately. Now, WhatsApp marketing or email marketing is really a fancier way of how we hate SMS marketing in the olden days. So it is one of the biggest myth that people have is that, hey, I have these tools and let me blast it out. In fact, it's a recipe for disaster. So what is the solution? The solution is in building your trust and credibility. Instead of you going and selling to people, the smarter sales strategy is when you make people come to you. And therein lies the power of digital selling. So when you construct your persona, when you construct your online presence, when you're offering value to others, when you're being helpful, when you're trying to preempt what others' problems are and you're offering solutions, you're able to elaborate what others have done beautifully, in essence, being useful. We always want to go to a person who's not only giving us solutions, but who's being super generous in offering those solutions and offering those answers. So that is what I want every person who's listening to this particular podcast and the talk show. I want you to listen very hard and say that you need to be a giver. Givers always get in the digital medium. By opening up, by letting people know how is it that they can succeed online is a brilliant strategy for you to win people's heart. And when you win people's heart, you will win their business as well. We all know that some of the biggest sales, multi-billion dollar acquisitions or sales that happens almost always doesn't happen in the boardroom. If you notice, they happen on golf courses, they happen in social spaces like bars, because people like to do business with people who they like or who they admire. So that's my biggest myth that I'd like to break, that don't just blindly follow digital sales tools. Invest a lot of time and effort into building trust circles. That's the myth I'd like to break.
Brilliant, sir. I think you nailed it. Again, as we all say, that sales is an art and science, and it has to be mastered by every entrepreneur for him to understand and make and leverage it to enhance both his personal and professional life. Sir, I wanted to ask you this because this again is very important. In the physical sale, many people know about this IDAS concept: attention, interest, desire, action, and sales. How much of these same synonyms work in the digital sales also, or is there any other pathway which a digital marketer or a seller should keep in mind when he's trying to attract those potential customers and make them into long-term loyal customers? Your comment on that?
Yes. So one of the best digital marketing strategies is first to create awareness. You need to let the world know about the service that you're offering or the product that you're giving. And on top of that, you should also educate the audience. What does your product do? And how is it going to help them? How is it going to help solve their problems? How is it going to elevate their their business. So it is very important to not just let people know that you exist and here is what your products or services can do, but also to educate people about what is the thing they can do. The reason why it is important to educate is because that is how you capture people's information. So if you have authored a book, most people wait until people buy the book. But in today's world, attention is the currency, not so much the currency when people buy your book. So by giving away your book, you're actually throwing a small fish in order to catch a bigger fish, because ultimately you want to gain the lifetime value of that customer. So when people know you, when they trust you, that's when the nurturing phase happens. And typically when people know about your product, they will not come immediately and buy. Because they may not have a need for it at that point in time, but at a later point in time, they will think of you. So it is important for you to make them think that when they think of this service, immediately your product or service should come on top of your mind. And that's where the nurturing bit happens. And once you've nurtured a customer very well over a few weeks and few months, when the need arises, that's when he or she will come and buy your product. And that's when they convert into a customer. And by offering great service, by delighting them with your product or service, you make them from a customer, you make them into a promoter. They become your brand ambassador. And that's when the amplification happens. So they themselves will go and recommend you to their circle of friends, to their circle of clients. And that's when the amplification happens. So in digital world, that's where the real power are. You create awareness, you educate, you nurture, you convert, and then you convert them, you elevate them to becoming your brand ambassadors, so that the word spreads around. And that's when the inbound marketing, inbound sales starts coming in.
Brilliant. I think that's a very, very comprehensive and very contextual answer. Kiruba sir, I want to ask you, if a traditional salesperson wants to improve his or her skills on digital, what action should they take?
The first action you should really take is to look and learn brands that are really doing very well on digital. It's the easiest, it's the most cost efficient, and it's the most interesting way of learning. So for example, if you've gotten a message from someone saying that, hey, let me give you an example, right? So right now I'm sitting in a farm, and I have, my grandma is 90 years old. She takes care of this farm, but she also runs a farm stay. So she has 3 small, cute, compact farmhouses in the 13-acre organic permaculture farm. Her goal is to encourage people to come and stay here. When they come and stay here, they're paying for it, and that becomes as revenue to the farm. Now, let me tell you some very interesting outcomes as part of it. What do you think my 90-year-old grandma will know about sales? Or what will she know? She studied only till 3rd standard. And I'm specifically taking the example of my grandma. She's 90 years old. You don't expect somebody to become master in anything at 90 years. Your learning quotient really becomes small. She's only studied till 3rd standard. She knows to read and write, but not too much. But let me tell you some of the learnings that she's had that will be a big source of inspiration for many of us. She has learned about Google reviews. Why? Because my daughters, who's her great granddaughters, have demonstrated and told her that people come and stay in farmhouses by going to the site called Google and by typing in farm stay near Chennai. So when you type farm stay near Chennai, there's a list of sites that come up. And our farm stay, Vaksana farm stay, is not listed out there. So she asked a question at 90 years, mind you. So why is it not, our farm stay not coming up on top? And then her great granddaughters explained the reason why it did not come up is because the other farms have more reviews. and we have less reviews. And then her next question was, sure, what should I do to get more reviews? And then she said, the best way to get reviews is that when somebody is very happy coming and staying, you request them to leave a review. And she said, oh, is that so? Okay, let me learn. And next time a guest comes, in all innocence, in all the charm that a 90-year-old lady has, she goes and requests people. And people are blown away by the fact that the 90-year-old lady even knows about Google reviews. And so they wholeheartedly come and give. So the reason why I'm telling you this very simple example is that anybody can learn. And the best way to learn is by looking at what others are doing. So in this case, my grandma looked at what other farm stays are doing, and she replicated it. Similarly, you can all do the same. Now, when you're listening to this talk show or the podcast, you run various businesses. Your verticalization of expertise could be very different. Always look for which company is doing the best in that field, and watch how are they doing. How are they messaging? What kind of Facebook post are they putting? What kind of interaction are they doing on Instagram? What kind of Google ads are they doing? And when they give an ad, what is the wordings like? So look and learn. That is one way how you can really learn. The second way is, please set a budget allocation every month for learning. Yeah. And I cannot emphasize this fact. We all have budgets for the groceries that we want to buy. We all have budgets for our kids' education. We all have budgets for the petrol and diesel that we want to put. But very, very rarely do we as individuals set a budget for learning. And please do yourself a favor. I want you to invest. I want you to find out the courses that you should learn. And you will know that by your gut feeling. You will know what is the area that you're weak in. So, for example, do you know how to use artificial intelligence in sales? No? Don't worry. There are specific courses that help you do that. Do you want to learn about sales automation? Are you aware of sales automation? No? Don't worry about it. There are courses on sales automation. There are tools that specialize in sales automation. So sign up for the course. If you have to pay, please generously pay, because that is not an expense. It is an investment in your own thing. And the third one, what I'd like to say is, and this is probably the most important one, that if you want to get better at sales, all the learning that you Google and read, all the books that you read, all the courses that you join, all the YouTube videos or the talk shows that you're listening to right now by Dr. Arunagiri, the minute you learn something new, please put that into action. You have to implement. And the beauty of digital sell is that it is very open for implementation. You can do a lot of testing, fail, because that's the only way you will start to get better. So the third, my sincere advice is, learn by doing. Whatever you've learned, implement it and play around with it, and start learning. So these are the three tips that I like to give people who want to learn about digital selling.
Absolutely. In fact, you nailed it by saying that, it's always said, your personal development is equal to your business development. So we need to ensure, as you rightly said, that we invest on the most important asset that we all have, that is you yourself. And if you don't invest on your more important asset, then how can you expect, prosperity to come? And one more very, very important nugget of wisdom is, whatever you learn, unless and you put into action, it doesn't become a power. And I think both these points itself is such a powerful point. If the listeners can take these 2 points, I think you can transform your life, or in any area of your life you will be able to take yourself to the next level. Brilliant. Kiruba sir, I wanted to ask you this. What are the common mistakes that people normally make while they look at, or when they indulge in the digital sales and marketing arena? What are the common mistakes that you have seen as a master, as a person who has done, who has studied this detail, plus you have been teaching in many universities and many colleges. So what is it that the common mistakes that
I still love it.
Just
Sure. So some of the obvious, yeah, some of the obvious mistakes that people do is they think that digital sales is not for me. They think, hey, I am not digitally savvy. I am not good in computers, and hence I will have somebody else do it for me, right? And that's one of the biggest mistakes that people do. The beautiful thing about digital selling is that you do not need to learn coding. You do not need to learn any fancy technology. Most of the digital selling tools and strategies are very, very commonplace that any person who is even a technology newbie can quickly get start using it. You know, it's remarkable. So let me tell you a beautiful example. So I was telling you about how my grandma runs a farm stay. She also got to learn about Instagram, right? Because that's where all the youngsters are. While people like in my generation are all more active in on Facebook, but my daughter's generation, everybody is on Instagram. So my grandma got to learn that the influencers, which are people who encourage parents to choose a venue to go on holiday, are the youngsters, and youngsters are present more on Instagram. So she started to learn a little bit more about Instagram. And one of the things that she started to find is that people ask a lot of questions on Instagram chat, right? And it became very tedious to answer every single question. So that's when we came across this beautiful artificial intelligence driven tool called InstaChamp. So what does InstaChamp do? Very simple. You pre-feed in the answers for a particular keyword. So for example, if somebody comes and asks, where is your farm located? Instagram immediately understands the question and it starts to throw up an answer that gives you exact location of the farm. How far is it from the nearest airport? How to get here? If somebody asks, what is your tariff? Or what is your cost? How much do you charge? The AI tool understands each one of these questions, and then it pulls out an answer that we have pre-fed, which is, this is how much is the cost, this is how much is it for weekday, this is how much it is for weekends. And the beautiful thing is that, so likewise for each and every part, you can just feed it in, and the work is now cut down by 70%. And people who ask questions get instant answers, and they get very relevant answers, and you're enhancing the user experience. But more importantly, you're really cutting down on your workload. You see that? So this is a 90-year-old grandma using an Instagram. And it is so simple that once you set it up, it almost runs like clockwork. So that's the biggest mistake that people do, is like, ooh, this is too scary. I don't know about all of these things. You don't need to learn. It is so easy for you to swing into action.
Absolutely, Kiruba. In fact, whenever I met you, and there's a couple of times in Chennai, and when we had been together at Bhubaneswar also, I could see so much of inquiries coming for our homestay, and many times it is booked for months together, and that shows the success of our venture there, and with so much of love and passion that you do, and that is something remarkable. In fact, it has been a huge inspiring thing for me. Every time we talk about this particular venture of yours, which you do out of, I think it's more out of love, more out of your care to give the people a brilliant rural experience, which I think is required by all of us who stay in the cities. Now, Kiruba, I want to ask you, which is the best social media platform which works best for sales leads and conversions, especially for these new budding entrepreneurs who always have a challenge in terms of generating the good leads in their business?
It's a great question. So I'm going to answer this. It depends on which line of business you're in, but the answers are very, very simple. If you are a B2C firm with a lot of visual advantage. So, for example, if you're in hospitality, if you're in travel, those kind of things are very visually driven. Then Instagram is absolutely the pace. So anything where you're able to take advantage of the visual medium without doubt. And if your audience are youngsters, Instagram is the best place. So follow the Pareto's principle of 80-20. Put 80% of your effort into 20% of tools, and that would be Instagram if your target audience are youngsters. If your target audience are decision makers who are at the CXO level or at the senior management level, without doubt, your focus has to be on LinkedIn. So I would strongly encourage is I want you to devote yourself to the mastery of the LinkedIn platform, because it can really pay you rich dividends. So I'm resisting myself in trying to tell you various other tools. You could say, hey, Kiruba, what about Facebook? What about Twitter? What about Quora? These are all very important tools to use. But if you're a small business, or if you're a solopreneur and you're very focused on, you don't want to spread yourself thin, you want to focus on a platform and master it, I would encourage you to use one of these two, depending on which area of segmentation that you're in. Take Instagram, nail it hard, go 1 mile, 1 centimeter wide, 1 mile deep, and really become a master of it. If you're into B2B sales or hitting senior management, then take LinkedIn and become a master. Again, resist the temptation to try various other tools. If you're a newbie, if you're an established business and you have the ability for you to hire an agency and where multiple people can work, by all means, please use various tools. But if you're a solopreneur or a small business who don't have the bandwidth, then I would rather encourage, take one platform, go deeper into the platform, really know that platform really well. And once you put that on autopilot mode, move on to the next platform.
Absolutely. In fact, Kiruba, I've been very impressed with the number of books that you have written. And friends, as you all know, Kiruba sir has written almost 7 books, and the 7th book is about to be, it's just been launched. And because as all of us know, books are the frozen thoughts of great people. And hence, if you want to really get to know the thought processes, the depth of understanding of the subject, it's always good to go and read a book. So as a astute and a very deep-rooted author who goes deep into every subject that he authors, I want you to talk about your latest book, which you have just launched, Kiruba, so that others can go buy it, and thereby, in fact, I for one believe that when you are able to get an access to a good book, you are able to cut short your learning time and thereby save a lot of money and take your business to the next level. So I would like us to know about your latest book.
Yeah. So my latest book is called Digital Selling, How to Use Social Media and Digital Marketing to Boost Your Sales. Now, Dr. Arnagiri just mentioned about how do you cut short your learning curve by investing in reading in a really good book. Let me tell you, the purpose of me authoring this book on digital selling is so that it's a beautiful excuse to learn from various people, from various CEOs, from various sales, from heads of marketing, what strategies that they use as a way to improve their businesses. So for me, this book is a chance for me to go and interview over 100 marketing heads, sales heads, and CEOs and entrepreneurs on what strategies has really worked best for them. So the reason why I wrote this book is because I wanted to get better in this subject. I wanted to really, and the best way for anybody is to invest in writing a book, because it forces you to research more and learn more.
Absolutely. And these books are available on which all digital platform?
Yeah, most of my books are available on Amazon. This particular book that I'm authoring will soon be available on Amazon and on Kindle. It'll be available on my website, kiruba.com/books. So those are ways that we can do. I'm hoping to have them published in 2 months from now.
Oh, awesome. I really urge each one of you to visit Kiruba's website and go through his earlier publications, because each of them are nuggets of wisdom, and definitely do a early booking of this particular fantastic book called Digital Selling. And you can see the on the chat box, you can see the link for that. Please go there and make use of, as Kiruba sir says, he has got this wisdom about this particular important topic of digital selling from hundreds of experts. Where can you get such a repository of wisdom and knowledge in such a short and a concisely defined fashion? Because I want to ask you this: what are the short-term, medium-term, and long-term discipline and strategy which an entrepreneur need to adhere to for him to really leverage this beautiful opportunity of digital selling and marketing?
Yeah. The one that has really helped me, that I've learned from my mentors is, we overestimate what we can do in a single day, and we underestimate what we can achieve over a year. Many of us, we have these to-do list and we write down all the things that we want to do. And almost always we are not able to complete them because you tag on too much. And I'm taking that analogy even for learning. If you want to start using digital and social media effectively for your business, and if you want to get comfortable and even become a master at digital selling, I want you to allocate half hour every day. If you think you can't allocate half hour, make it 10 minutes. That's the time that you take to brush your teeth and wash your face and get ready in the morning, right? That's all you need to do, which is just dedicate 10 minutes of time in learning one aspect of digital selling. Now, you might think, hey, Kiruba, but just 10 minutes is just too little. But you'd surprise yourself if you can just add up these 10 minutes every day, over a week, over months, and over a year. You'd be surprised at how much you can learn. So that is one advice that I would have. Dedicate yourself, promise yourself, set yourself a time in your calendar, block your calendar. You promise yourself you will not do anything else but researching and learning about digital selling. And over a period of time, 10 minutes can become 15 minutes to become 20 minutes. And that's one advice that I would like to do. The second advice is what I've already told you earlier, but it is absolutely worth repeating it again, that learning is nothing unless you start doing it. So if you've learned a little bit of things. So for example, let me tell you a tool that I recently came across. It's called warmer.ai, WARMER. Let me just type it in the chat box so you're able to, it's warmer.ai. This is a tool that helps salespeople draft excellent introduction messages, especially during the cold calling stage. Because what this tool does is that it identifies who you are, it understands your LinkedIn profile, it understands your personality, it understands which areas you have worked in, it understands which companies you have worked earlier, and based on the entire history of the person, it sculpts. It beautifully writes an introductory email, which you cannot do that yourself. Now, I'm just telling you this as an example. Now, you might think, oh, okay, so warmer.ai, okay. Don't stop with that. At the end of the session, open up your browser and go to warmer.ai and start learning about it. Next step, there will obviously be a trial period. Download that tool and sign up for that tool. Step number 3, sign up for the trial period and start using it for your business for real, right? Start using it. And if you feel you have found value, pay up. It's a SaaS-based service. It won't cost you much, and start using it. You see that? So now that you've learned a tool called warmer.ai for writing great intro messages and intro emails, to actually downloading it, to using it for a trial version, and then paying a full version and implementing it for your business. So that's what I would urge you to do.
Absolutely. In fact, let me go a little deeper on the same topic of AI, because now we talk about chat GPT and all those things, which are really caught people's fancy. And as we all know, one thing I've realized is the app designers make it so user friendly that all you require, as you rightly said, that consistent investment of a certain amount of time, as less as 15 minutes per day, but do it consistently. And that gives you the real as we said by in the Atomic Habits, James Clear, it leads you a tremendous amount of leverage in terms of the benefit it occurs to you. As he says, 1% improvement in every day in 365 days leads to 37 times improvement in your overall effectiveness, efficiency, and excellence. So, I want to ask you, how can salespeople use AI-based tools to increase their sales efficiency? You did say about this, but maybe a little bit more, because today I think there's so much of artificial intelligence which is being utilized. I think your input and your suggestions and coaching would be a huge help to the budding entrepreneurs. Yeah.
So always remember that artificial intelligence is just another tool to help do your job, right? If your goal is to sell better, then artificial intelligence will just enhance that ability for you to do. I do not want you to get enamored by the concept of artificial intelligence, and so do not fall prey to jumping onto every single tool that is out there. By all means, please play around with it, but realize the fact that fundamentals remain. You need to have a great product. You need to have a great service. You need to be very good at building your reputation. You need to make it easy for people to reach out to you. So all of these things are fundamentals. Once you've set their foundation very strong, AI is a tool that you can apply on top of it to enhance it. So AI is not a magic tool to cure inefficiency, right? So keep that absolutely clear in mind, because some people think, oh, I'll just sign up for a few AI tools and my job is done. No, it is not done. You still have to be very, very involved in the entire thing. So having said that, there are some really nice tools available. There's this tool called Many Chats that you can sign up. It is a fantastic one that you can add on to your website, so that when somebody comes and visits your website, and when they ask questions, so your chat bot is a fantastic chat bot. It can quickly answer your questions even without you not being available. So that is something that I would encourage. Squiggle, SQUIQL, is a site that makes excellent videos for you on the fly. All you have to do is just feed in the message that you want, and then it understands the message, and then it creates short videos for you to quickly use. There is a tool called copy.ai that writes excellent copywriting for your ads and for your social media posts. So these are some of the tools that I'm just telling you. Obviously, there are many more, but I want you to develop this habit of experimenting, right? So these tools, just play around with it. Now, thankfully, like what Dr. Arnagiri said, most of these tools, because they are all SaaS-based tools, software as a service, you do not have to pay them big monies to download. You can sample them for a month, for a two, see if it fits your need. If it does, go ahead with the tool. If not, go on to the next tool. So that's what I would advise, that embrace artificial intelligence, try out various tools, settle down on a tool that does your job, and then marry yourself to the tool and go deeper.
Awesome. I think each of the answers that Kiruba sir is giving, I think it's a really, very so simple and so easy to implement. I think all that a person has to do is just have an open mind and just implement these strategies. I promise you, these are all nuggets of wisdom coming from a master, and who has not only practiced it, he has taught to hundreds and thousands of people across India and abroad. And I promise you, they're all real nuggets of wisdom for you to adhere. Sir, I want to ask you, if you were to look into the crystal ball Okay, what does the future of selling look like in the future?
Yeah. Let me just look into the crystal ball.
Yes.
And this
What?
is what the crystal ball tells me. It tells me that the future is going to be predictive selling, which is even before you reach out and ask for help, the artificial intelligence, various tools will understand this is going to be your need, and then you can very contextually you can reach out to them. So let me give you an example. Let's say there's someone who is 21 years old. Now, a 21-year-old guy would have just about finished college. So what does a guy who's just finished college will do? He will look out for a work, right? He'll need to. So that means that he needs to have formal dress. He needs to invest in a coat and suit, for example, right? And to go to the job, he will need to have a vehicle, a bike or a car, which means that he's a candidate for that. So if you have bought a bike, then you will need to have a travel insurance, which means he's a candidate for that. So and when he's 21, by the time he's 26, he needs to get married, which means that marriage halls will want to quote him. So you hear what I'm saying. So almost always you can predict what a person needs. Now, obviously, the example that I gave you is very, very simple, and I can tell you it's almost predictable. But sales is best done when there is a need, right? And this is a super important thing for you to really understand. So, for example, did any of you today think of your tire? You would have traveled in your car or your bike. You would have traveled in but you would never have thought about it, because a tire just does its work, and it disappears from your consciousness. But when you have a puncture, when your tire is flat, that's when you think of the tire. And that's when you think of a service provider, a guy who can repair your puncture, right? So imagine if there's a predictive analysis where the tool is able to understand that many of the vehicles that travels on this particular road from previous experience has got punctured, and it predicts that you are likely to travel on that route, and you're likely to get punctured, and hence here is your puncture service guy that will come in handy. So I'm just giving you a very random example, but I want you to understand that this is really the future, which is understand a pattern. So here's Dr. Arnagiri, who's present out here. Mr. Jagmohan Nair is on the call. Tejeshwari Patil is on the call. Now, each one of us are very individual, just like how we have each one of our fingerprint is very unique. Our behaviors are unique. Our needs are very unique. That the services that we use are very, very unique. But these tools are going to come in that understands your behavior, that understands your pattern, and then are able to give you solutions that are custom made only for you. I think that is going to be the future, which is contextually predictive, customized sales offerings is what is going to be the norm.
Absolutely. You nailed it. Absolutely. It's going to be so predictive, and that before you are able to meet a prospective customer, the customer himself will know what is his need, and all that you need to know is to be the first mover advantage and ensure that you know the need and you are able to offer them a product which would meet his needs. Brilliantly said. Kiruba sir, we almost spent 1 hour. It doesn't even realize that, we just didn't realize that 1 hour just passed off. But I think you have given us so much of insights and inputs about digital sales and marketing. It has been awesome. I will just take some questions which has come on the chat box. Mm-hmm. Can I take another about 2 or 3, Kiruba sir?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
So Dr. Arish Kumar has said, how professionals like CA and doctors can use digital media for improving their business? So.
Right. It's a great question. It does not matter if you're a CA, you're a doctor, you're an engineer, educationist, technology guy, the concepts of selling and digital selling remains the same. You have a service to offer. There is someone who's in need of your service, and you need to make sure that you are present out there. Of course, in doctors' case, accountant, there are rules set by the Chartered Accountancy Association for them that they can't solicit, they can't do outwardly. So there will be some constraints. Doctors are also not allowed to solicit very. So there are some constraints out there, but within the rules of the land, within the ambit, you do have tremendous tools and strategies that are available. I would urge you again. I'm just going to go back to the strategies that I told you. If you're a doctor, look out for what are some of the best doctors overseas and how are they marketing themselves. Look at Google and find out what are the tools that are specifically there for doctors. Try and understand what are the not to do's that doctors should not do in the digital space, which is learning from others' mistakes. So I would encourage you to do that, knowing that the sales concepts are standard throughout, no matter which line you are, but try to learn what are specifics in your line of, in your medium, in your domain. So that's what I would encourage you to do.
Absolutely. The last question I can take from Pawan Kumar. He says that, can you give me some chatbot tool name which can be, would be appropriate for him?
I have two names for you. One is called Many Chats, MANYCHATS, Many Chats. So that's something that you can use for your website, for Facebook, for Instagram, for WhatsApp. It's an excellent tool for you to do that. If you're focused only on Instagram, right, and you want to really have a fantastic chatbot just for Instagram, there is a chatbot called InstaChamp, INSTA CHAMP. So these two is something that I would recommend.
Thank you, Kiruba. Thank you. It has been a fabulous 1 hour wherein my own understanding of digital sales and digital marketing has gone to the next level. Thank you very much for sharing with us so generously. And what I loved about your answers, Kiruba, was that you were very specific. And they always say specific is terrific. And because of the specificity, you have been able to, I think all the viewers who are there right now live watching us on the Facebook or on the Zoom platform, and subsequently will be watching us on the YouTube, will be able to get into action, as you rightly said, because knowing is not doing, doing is doing. And thank you for giving us that pathway to get into action and thereby experience this brilliant opportunity that is open for all of us in terms of the digital sales and marketing. So thank you very much for your valuable time. And I would request all the viewers who are watching us, please look at digital selling book, which Kiruba sir is authoring, and pick it up. I think that is the smallest investment that you can do in order to ensure that you are able to have a leg up in terms of learning, understanding, and thereby implementing this particular avenue which is available, or that is of digital selling for your career, for your enterprise, or for your life. So, Kiruba sir, thank you very much. Any last words you would like to tell the youth, especially the budding entrepreneurs?
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Arun, for having me on the show. I'm truly honored, and I'm inspired by how you not only are you passionate about sales mastery, but you really walk the talk. And running a show like the Sales Masters talk show is a classic example of how we can do that. So there was a question asked about how can CA or doctors use it. This is a way how you can do that, is by using sales strategies and methodologies and putting them into action. Thank you so much. And I also love your punctuality on the dot, on the hour. And it's beautifully structured. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Kiruba. Thank you, everyone who is there right now watching us on the Facebook and who are there on our Zoom platform, for your valuable time and for your active participation, which I could see in the chat box. Thank you very much. God bless. And please, whatever we have learned from Kiruba sir, apply it and thereby take yourself and your life to the next level. Thank you and God bless, and see you again for the next episode of our Sales Mastery Talk Show, which we will be having it in the coming week. Thank you and God bless. Namaskaram. Thank you.